everybody. My name is Kat Sheridan. I'm the director of the Ohio Arts Council's Rife Gallery. We're extraordinarily pleased to present to you Tariq Tarey tonight. He is the artist behind the images you see behind me. But before I let him come up here and share with you some really great information and a little about his process and open up the floor to questions because he's that kind of guy, let me tell you a little bit about Tariq. He has many honors. Among them are the Southside Settlement House's Arts Freedom Award in 2006. He is a recipient of the Individual Excellence Award from the Ohio Arts Council, and that was in 2008. And in the same year, also won the Greater Columbus Arts Council's Individual Excellence Award. Tariq has also directed Women, War, and Resettlement, Nasaro's Journey, is that right? Did I say it?
Nazaro.
Nasaro's Journey, which was aired on WSU Public Television in 2012. And moreover, Tariq's film, The Darien Gap, was shown in the second United States Conference on African Immigrant and Refugee Health. So a pretty awarded person, rightly so, and genuinely phenomenal human that I'm so pleased that I've had the chance to get to know, and I'm very excited for all of you that don't yet know him to get to know him better, and those of you that do to just wash yourself in his goodness. So enjoy Tariq Tarey. Thank you.
I see many friends. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Rife Gallery, the Ohio Arts Council, and Kat, thank you for giving African-American artists a platform to share our vision with the world and the state of Ohio. So really, thank you. I'm honored to be part of such amazing artists. Today what I want to talk about is a subject that is dear to me, and it's actually my experience, what I went through in the United States, coming here, fleeing my country in Somalia, and coming here as a refugee. So what I want to show you is a process in which a human being can lose their livelihood and face the most evil of humanities. So obviously that is the word is refugee, and technically the definition is somebody who is fleeing their home because of persecution and persecution, what it means actually, obviously here, but the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees and the Geneva Convention in the 50s have decided these are the pillars of one is being persecuted. This is what you have to be persecuted under. So you have to be either being chased by your government or other persons for your race, religion, nationality, political opinion, and membership of political group. As of 2007, 65 million people have been forced from their home. That is an astonishing and a big number for the world. And out of that, 40 million people are internally displaced. For those who don't know what that means, is if you leave Ohio, for example, and did not cross a border, and you're still in the United States, you still will be a refugee. Once you cross a border, then you're qualified to be a refugee. So 21 million people are registered to be as refugees. One of the saddest things about the process of being a refugee, the hardest hit humans are women and children, and 47% of refugees are women, and 51% are the people under the age of 18. And that tells you those are the most vulnerable people that you can imagine. When you turn the news on, you always see, America, Europe, we're being invaded by all these refugees, and you assume refugees they're coming here only. But quite frankly, refugees are first leaving their country and not going to the United States. They're not coming here, or they're not going to Europe. They're going to these countries. So most refugees that are leaving Somalia or Yemen currently right now, and Syria, are not coming straight to the United States. They are going to neighboring countries. And this is what you're looking at right now. 2.5 million refugees are in Turkey. Think about these numbers. Pakistan, Iran, Lebanon, those are the top places where refugees are going. Most people don't realize this. When a war happens and people cross over to another country, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees built these camps. And these camps were supposed to be a temporary measure, a temporary place for refugees to stay, and not for refugees to stay this long. I mean, look at it. 20 years refugees are spending in this place. And people say, well, what do they look like? This is what a refugee camp looks like. This is the border of Greece and Macedonia. I was there in 2016, again in 2019, but this is from the first trip. This is it. This is a 0 Celsius, 32, 34 Fahrenheit. This is what people are living. Children, women, men, elderly are living in these conditions. Zaydan is a Yazidi refugee. For those who don't know Yazidis, there are a group of Iraqis, but ethnically they're Yazidi. They believe in Yazidism. It's not an Abrahamic religion. They believe in the energy, the sun. And when ISIS came, they wanted them to convert. And it is the 21st century genocide I've committed against them in August of 2014, if you haven't, back then the news was talking about it a lot. But they fled Iraq, they went to Turkey, they took boats, and they came to Greece, hoping that Germany and other countries would take them. But they've been in limbo here because Germany and all the countries in Europe closed the borders, and they didn't want any more refugees. So they were stuck in this place for a long time. I'm happy to report he's one of the lucky ones. Technology is amazing. When I was doing this 15 years ago, I would travel to Africa. I would never get hold of these people, but now they follow me on Facebook and we chat all the time. Hey, where are you? So he's lucky that he took his children into Germany, and Germany allowed him to become a refugee. So he's one of the lucky ones. Things like you and I wake up this morning, we open the tap, water was there, life was easy. Think about if you're living in this condition for 20 years. This is where the water comes. This young lady would be carrying the water on her head. And I didn't honestly notice this photo carefully. My wife, earlier, she was helping me, and she noticed that this cat gave me one of these fancy things. That's a baby, heart, and he's got water all over the place. So this young lady is carrying it all the way back there, and he's got this genius man. Again, no energy, no things that you can cook with. This is what you're dealing with here. Firewood, that's how you heat, that's how you cook. And this young lady here, also is Yazidi. She had witnessed rape, she had been raped, and she lost many of her family members. And while her and I were having this conversation, this extremely difficult conversation, she offered me tea. The humanity, like as an artist and as someone travels and sees everything, every time that you talk to a human being, the courage, everything else keeps you going. Because she said, don't worry about it. That happened. I'm safe. I survived. So this is the conditions that people live. Children, and you can't see it here, unfortunately, but there's there's wood that they, chop, and this is where they burn, and this is where they cook. And this is all donated by NGOs around the world, and a lot of people helping these individuals. And also, every country doesn't offer you the best land for refugees. They offer you the worst place you can imagine. This is a army base with terrible, conditions. Obviously, you can see the ground here. That's what Greece is offering refugees to live in. I'm going to pause this for a second. I'll do my best to get the audio down here, but this is a short video that I've done to show you what the conditions of a refugee camp looks like. And there it is. Oops. No, I'll just.
السلام هربت من الموت أدور على الأمان على السلام أريد أعيش مثل العالم كان في أمان في سلام بالنسبة لليزيدية بعد ما راح بالعراق مستحيل واحد يعيش بالعراق لأن السنين بدنا نتقابل على مود هذا الدين اللي نعوفه مستحيل حتى إذا ظل يزيد واحد بالعالم كله ما يفوت ما خلطها مثل ما أنت شايف أكو واحد يجي يعيش أنا مسجد معتقل بس معتقل مفتوح السجون على معتقل احنا ما جينا ننغلو احنا جينا نطلع
مكان يعني أفضل مكان نعيش فيها مكان نستقر فيه يعني نشوف نفسنا
نعيش على الأوادم
نشتغل نفتح بيت يعني هيك شغلات بس نساعد نساعد بدي أعطيك جواب وما حد أعطاني لحد الآن كلمة واحدة يعني مفيدة إنه فيها بكلمة يعني يقولوا ما بعرف يعني تسأل الوزير يقول ما بعرف تسأل الباب البوليس يقول ما بعرف تسأل أبو البلدية يقول ما بعرف تسأل مين يعني
ما حد
تسأل جواب يعني يقول ما بعرف
جانا أوروبا أوضع أوروبا هسه عايشين بأوروبا ورجعونا 100 سنة لورا
So one of the reasons why I wanted to show you that is it's hard to imagine from a photograph what the refugee camp, the conditions look like, and how much people are in pain. So his last statement was, they call this Europe. They brought us back 100 years back. This is not the civilization where I thought with the freedom and the democracy and everything else. I'm in jail. Sure, it's an open jail, he says, but look at the conditions I'm living under. So it tells you how Europe is absolutely anti-immigration and anti-refugee at all. So anybody can answer this question? When I say resettlement means it's not they escaped to other country, the country that accepting refugees in legal terms and who's welcoming them. I'll make it easier for you. America was number one for decades, since the 80s, 70s, and 80s. But Canada is sort of beating us to that level. They're welcoming more refugees. So Japan is having population crisis, and they want to welcome refugees also, which is amazing. So I'll make this a lot easier. It looks complicated, and actually it is complicated. But when a refugee arrives into a refugee camp, they submit the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees will listen to them, listen to their case, and then if there are no security threat and their story checks out, they pass that person or that file to those countries that I shared with you earlier, slide before this, and then any other country will believe the United Nations, except the United States. The United States will actually deploy people from here, Homeland Security, to make sure those people who are applying for refugee status are accurate, their story checks out, and then you go through many questions, such as the family will be separated, will be asked questions, husband and wife, kids, how many dishes do you guys have, what kind of, what does your tent look like, how many toys do you have? They'll ask separate questions to make sure the family is who they are. And also, they will check DNA to make sure everybody is actually related and everything's accurate. After that, you will pass that test, and then you will go through health screening. And health screening also, you have to be absolutely 100% healthy. You can't have tuberculosis, rightfully so. You can't have any other diseases that will bring harm to our country here. So when I say it takes 20 years for you to get resettled, this is the problem here with the bureaucracy and how long this takes. After that, then you will, if you're lucky enough, you will be traveling to the United States. And coming to the United States costs you money. It's not free. Most people think, I come to America and this. I will go back to this. By the way, if you ever get a chance, please visit, volunteer or check out the resettlement process when refugees first arrive in America. It's one of the most humbling experiences there is. But this family, this is the grandmother. These kids just landed in America. And this family, right here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members of the family. They owe about $10,000 for that travel loan. So they have to pay it back. No question about it. And this is their relative, been in Columbus for about 4 years or 5 years. She can easily take the escalator comfortably. And these people have never been on an escalator. As you can see, they're not going to even attempt it. So they're like, no, we know this is a lot easier for us. But if I may go back, so the resettlement process, it's very complicated, and really we have a short amount of time that I want to get through a lot of things. So the United States, there's an advocacy group that would advocate how many people they would like to lobby Congress to allow. So the ceiling of 2008 was 80,000. George Bush that was last year, President George Bush, let 60,000 people in. And the Obama years, as you can see the numbers here, and the last year of Obama, 80,000, but the ceiling was 110,000 when Obama was leaving, and 53 was let in after he left. And 2018 fiscal year, 9,000 refugees have come in. So you can see the drastic drop from previous administration and the one before that.
What was the typical Obama year?
Um,
An example?
typical, you guys can't see this far, right?
Yeah, we can see it.
It's okay, we're getting that.
Where's Kat? Next time. So I'll read it quickly. 2009, 74,000 refugees came. 2010, 73. 2011, 56. 58 the following year. 69,000, all the way through. Last year of Obama, 84,000, roughly 85,000 refugees arrived. 2008 fiscal year, only 9,000 people came. Did I point this at you? I'm sorry.
It's reflecting painfully, I'm sorry.
That's all right. All right. Technology. I'll just point. So 9,616 people came in 2018 fiscal year. In 2020, it will be even less. So so the numbers are different. Refugees have not decreased around the world; they have actually increased, and America's welcoming has, quite frankly, stopped. But again, when refugees arrive, this is the moment that you witness. It's the happiest moments of I've ever witnessed. Actually, I love visiting the airport. I love seeing these families get reunited and hold each other. This is a family that was separated because of the travel ban. The young man, this is I won't use this thing again, sister, brother, mother, and a sister. They have been separated because, remember what I was telling you about the health screening? He couldn't make it. He had issues, so the family traveled. So they were waiting for him, and the travel ban happened, so he couldn't make it. Last year, he was the only Syrian came into Columbus, Ohio, and one of the only few that arrived. So I was lucky enough that Angie Plummer from Community Refugee Immigration Services asked me to come and help her to photograph this moment. And I was absolutely lucky to witness this moment that you could see clearly from the emotions how a sister that misses her brother. So happy family. That's the whole family. This is Angie Plummer from Community Refugee Immigration Services, and that's the family. Very happy, as you can see. America has been generous. America has welcomed many refugees for a long time. Since 1975, America welcomed 3,200,000 and more refugees. Majority of those were coming from Asia at the time of the Vietnam War and Laos, former Soviet Union, and Asia, Africa, Europe, and Latin America. Reception and placement. This is what refugees get when they first arrive in the United States. They get housing. Most people think, oh my God, forever they'll get this house and they'll keep it. No, they get only 4 months worth of support, intense support, and after that, 8 months of English as second language, a little bit of training. After that, they're just like you and I. They have to survive. There's no this long-term, support for them. So they have to survive immediately, and most refugees do. There are agencies like where I work, Jewish Family Services, that supports these individuals to make sure that they don't fall back and become part of our society. And I'll go into that later on. You always hear about this, that refugees are taking our jobs, they're leeches, they're not working, but fact of facts. 35, this is an independent study that was done in 2017, 2015. 35.9 million, that's their spending power. And also they pay $1.6 billion into our economy. That's taxes that are coming to us, coming to our roads, coming to our police, coming to everything that we hold dear. So refugees are supporting us. There are waves in Columbus, and if you lived in Columbus for a long time, you will see those waves. And those waves are first in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Somalis were coming in a massive number. And if you lived in Columbus that long, you're very familiar with that migration and that refugee. And then after that, there was a short period of time, the Iraq invasion. There was a lot of Iraqis that have come in. And immediately after that, in 2009, all the way through 2015, there were huge Bhutanese Nepali. And we're lucky enough to have an elected official here in Reynoldsburg already that is serving. And currently, the people are coming are the Great Lakes of Africa, which is Congo, Rwanda, Burundi. All those regions are coming now. This is my latest project that I'm working on about the Congolese refugees. Again, not all the people that I mentioned are the only people here. There are many other refugees also arrived, but they don't arrive the numbers that I was telling you about. So this man here is a Chinese refugee. He's what you call the Uyghur community, which is persecuted aggressively in China. He's a Muslim, and he lives in Columbus. A colleague of ours at work, Sinan, who is currently an engineer and from Iraq. Ram is a professional that teaches English as a second language for refugees. He is from Bhutan. An engineer from Syria. A young man from Eritrea who is trying out for the crew. I hope he gets in. A Mauritanian refugee who, by the way, Mauritania, up until recently, was still practiced slavery. It's a West African country. He is we did a story about him in the New York Times a number of years ago. My favorite person, Anissa. Anissa, you here? Yes, I'm embarrassing you, I know. Anissa is an advocate, loves Columbus, and also supports Somalia in famine drive, in many, many schools and things like that. So thank you for all you do, Anissa. Burma. Refugees are the luckiest in somewhat. Everything I told you they weren't lucky, but when they arrive in America, they are the only immigrant group guaranteed a citizenship if they abide the law and they pay their taxes and do everything right. They are the only group that they don't have any condition. They have the right to work, right for protection, right for school. They are practically an American citizen except they can't vote. But most of them also apply for citizenship, and almost 100% they look forward to applying, becoming a citizen. So I went through this experience. I tell you, it's very humbling. And if you get a chance, also go for naturalization ceremony. around you, and you will see how much people love America, how much people want to become American. So, my favorite refugee of all time. So what I want to do actually is I've given you a little bit of background of what I care about and what I love and my story essentially. This is where I really want us to have a conversation. Political correctness is not going to work. I want you to ask me any question you can think about. And how many people do we have here? 30, 40 people? 45. So only 10 of you can ask questions because we don't have the time. So, shy people.
Tariq, why do you shoot the way that you do for these portraits?
If you did not hear that, why do I shoot the way I shoot these portraits? So, I'm always inspired by the turn of the century when Irish and European immigration was happening in America. And you see these black and white photos and people getting off the boats. And somebody stood there and took the initiative to photograph these people and archive them for future generations to study. So for me, black and white negative has lasted long enough. History proves it. And I just want to make sure that archival process does exist for our future generation to study the current migration that I am living through. So it's important to me that not only the quality, but also there's a lot of technology happening these days. People can take a photo on this cell phone and social media, but I want to do it in a way that is anthropologist, education, all those people can go back and study this phenomenon years from now so we can keep our history going.
How are you?
Good. Thanks
Good.
for coming.
So these photographs are a collaborative project, right? I guess my question is, do you feel as if you present them as art pieces and sell them because it is a collaborative project? Do you feel like you need to compensate them for their work? And if not, are you thinking about it now? And if you do, what does that look like?
So, I'm going to paraphrase your question. So it's a collaborative process. If you haven't heard in the back, it's a collaborative process. Is there any compensation that happens to the subject, or pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Is that so? First of all, when I photograph individuals, I do not misrepresent them or misrepresent my intentions. My intentions, number one, is advocacy, is to shed a light on a story of mine and a story of theirs, because them and I, we may not come from the same country, but we have the same situation of losing a country, leaving a land that we're so used to, that millennia of our generations lived in. We come to a new land and trying to survive. That we have in common. So they understand where I'm coming from, and they respect the fact that I'm telling their story. When it comes to the art pieces, they are aware of it, but what I also do in my other hat at Jewish Family Services, my other job, is to make sure that they are they're getting the jobs they need. They have a platform to be able to solve many of their problems, such as housing and all this other stuff. So they know I mean well, and it is not I'm going to take your picture, I'm going to sell it, I'm going to make money out of it. They know the advocacy piece, and they're well supportive of that. They're like, take my picture. You want my children? Go ahead, do it. No, just use fine. But it's a good question, actually, because there are other Europeans have gone to these places, have really exploited people into ways in which that is not a very good thing. They are aware of what I'm trying to do. They are giving me that platform to say, go ahead, tell our stories. I'm very proud of it, actually. So, excellent question. Melissa?
How do you build relationships with these communities if they're not your community or speak your language?
How do I build?
How do you
Build.
How do you get to know these communities?
Right. So, because I'm seeking for this community, but also I am a practitioner of solving many of the integration process in Columbus. So when they first arrive, I either have helped a previous person from that community that says, oh, just go to that office, that Jewish family, they're gonna help you, they're gonna take care of you. So the name and the agency I work at, the platform that I have within that agency helps me a lot to be trusted, to be able to say, okay, no, he's one of us. Come through, take the photos. If you speak a foreign language, one or two, it's sort of easy to break your language in a way that you can easily sort of communicate. But I also have colleagues that are from the same region. Blaze is sitting next to you over there, who actually, thanks to him, he does do the translation for me. He does speak to, and he tells me when I'm crossing the line, because again, it's not the same culture, right? So I rely a lot on the community, I rely a lot on my colleagues, I rely a lot on the community that allows me to come in and share their story.
How can we help refugees?
Vote. No, I'm serious. You really, if you really care about refugees, and if you care anything about what I said today, voting does matter, and one has to really vote for individuals who care about refugees, who welcome in refugees. We all of us, whether today or we came to this country at some point, and we cannot close our doors. So that's one. Two, shop at your local refugee stores, support them that way. If you need my help, I'll be here. I could give you some tips. Also volunteer. Volunteer for agency that I work in, Jewish Family Services. You can volunteer for Community Refugee Immigration Services. We do have food pantries, spring and summer. Once Saturday, adopt a family. We can help you. Teach English once a week to a person. There's many ways, many ways you can help. And if you really need help, come see us, and I'll help you with getting through that.
Is it all nonprofits and NGOs making all this happen, or is it government? Is the government involved in terms of funding, and from the camps, to the process of the background checks and all, the transportation? You're over here saying, where's all that? Where's the funding?
Well, so excellent question. The United States Department of State is in charge of making sure vetting and paperwork and all that stuff is accurate. Then the State Department will give each state, depending on the number caps that people are coming in, to the state refugee coordinator, the capital city, which is, let's say, Columbus. We have a state refugee coordinator. Within that, the money will come from the federal government to support refugees. They will go to 50 states. Within each county, then each county will have that funding to support the local refugees. But remember, they only get support for 8 months at max. So if you are a single mother with children, then you will go to the route of regular American who's having a hard time. You will get the $10, which is the welfare money. But most of the people fall off, and most refugees, to be very honest, they're not even interested in that. They just want to work. I don't want any paperwork. I don't want government. I just want to work. That's what they tell us all the time, and they do work.
I would think it'd be the transportation that would be such a hurdle, wouldn't it?
Well, it depends on what state. So if we're looking at Columbus, yes, absolutely. It's a problem of not only refugees, it's all Columbus, right? I mean, people can't get to, Allen Creek and anywhere that they want to work, right? So yes, but refugees, what they are better than other communities is a communal. So one person will get a car. He's got a cousin, he's got a friend, he's got a neighbor. We're still in that communal phase. We haven't become individuals yet. So we're all supportive. And in the office, and many of my colleagues here today will tell you, when they come to us, they'll say, hey, we're looking for a job. You're like, are you looking for a job? Or 20 of you looking for a job? No, we're all looking for a job. I'll speak for everybody. We're all looking for a job. So they still believe in that communal. And it really helps. It really helps us as people who provide services because we can rely on a person or two to support us in this mass transportation that we have to go through. So.
Similar to past group, my Italian immigrant parents.
Yeah, exactly.
The Italian neighborhood of Youngstown.
Listen, America is just repeating itself. There's, and by the way, and I always say this, and I hope I'm not being rude, but if you hate immigrants, I always say to people, wait for the kids, because they'll be American. So just wait a generation, and everybody will have no accent, everybody will sound the same. So.
Can you tell us who taught you photography and why it's important to do film for you, for your work?
So in 2002, I walked into a place, it's still around, it's called Midwest Photo Exchange, and a friend of mine named Abdi Roble, who is an amazing photographer, was working there. We met and he said, let's start a nonprofit organization together called the Somali Documentary Project that focuses the plight of Somali refugees around the world. And small little funding, small little here and there. Finally, we got to travel Europe, Africa, and many states that are refugees, or Somali refugees were living in. Film is, I didn't know digital back then, so this is what I started, this is what I know, this is exactly what I captured from the beginning, and it's still with me. It's still with me, and I haven't changed, and I'm a creature of habit. If I like something, I want to keep it. So, yeah, most people think that you got to go with the latest advanced things, but believe me, film is where it is for me.
So there's a little bit of magic that happens in your true film development.
Right.
And there's an actual development that happens.
Right.
Do you conceptually link that to a development into new lands? Is that something that you link for refugees? Is that something that you're thinking about, that kind of transition that happens from negative to positive?
I wish it was that poetic. I honestly, I'm like the photo that I showed you on the slide with in the middle of nowhere in the border of Macedonia and Greece. It is cold, it's miserable. All I could think about was, how can I not upset this woman that is before me? And how can I be as quick? And you've got this bellows. Here, let me, all right, there it is. So that's actually not the camera that I'm talking about, but it is a big bellow, and you've got this dark slide, you've got all these things going on. And most refugees are telling me, Mister, you don't have iPhone? Like, it's a lot easier. You're making me stand here for this long and taking the meter and going back and going in the dark. And they've never been photographed professionally before. They're like, what is this? What's taking so long? I've already told you my story. What else do you need from me? So that's what I'm going through. I'm going through, how can I be as quickly as possible, get him, sitting down or moving away from my lens as quickly as possible. But as many film photographers here, I've seen some of my colleagues and friends, we really, really such a pain process. We gotta take the film over there. You gotta go through scanners, you gotta protect your film. You get there, you shoot as many rolls of film or sheets of film, you bring it back, you don't know what you have. If that's not nerve-wracking, I don't know what else. You spend all this money, all this energy, And only the nerds or film shooters can relate to what I'm saying here, and everybody else is like, can you move on to the next question? So, but really, it's a joy, it's lovely. I got Matt here, and I've got many friends who shoot film with me, and they can relate to it, so.
How does Columbus, Ohio, as a community stack up in terms of being a community that's good and nurturing refugees coming into this country?
Well, Columbus is a welcoming city. Some of you may disagree, or some of my friends may disagree, but Columbus is, and this is why you have north side of Columbus with full of refugees. You've got businesses, you've got, if it wasn't friendly, you would not have this. Refugees and immigrants, most immigrants are magnet to a place that is welcoming them, right? So it is welcoming. It needs to be more welcoming in terms of housing, in terms of transportation and jobs and things like that. Yes, we could be policy-wise more welcoming, but I think overall we are moving in the right direction. And Somali community at the moment is looking for the police, for example, police force to hire more individuals who speak the language, who can relate to those things. And some of the issue was the hijab, which Toronto, Canada, UK, Minnesota have said, who cares? It's just a hijab. It's just a thin layer of material. Why is that even an issue?
I know one thing is that if you're short on cash and you don't have a big budget to travel, what you can do is, we go out to Chicago Market and go to the various markets, and it's amazing. It's an amazing cultural experience, really. And yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say what you said, and to make sure that the people in the back heard you. And I've actually always said this. Americans are the luckiest people. You don't have to travel to another country. Everybody came to you. If you wanted to eat, like when I was a kid in Somalia, to eat Indian food, forget it. Nobody knows where Indian. There's nobody. There's only Somali food, and that's it. If you're wealthy enough, there could be a little Italian, little touristy place, and that's it. But here, you've got neighbors who are from different countries, Korean. If you seriously wanted to get to know a Korean friend, you will in Columbus. You look how lucky. You don't have to travel. So your point is, there's Saraga, there's other businesses that immigrants and refugees own, and go visit and go. If you're short on cash and not be able to travel, take a bus ride. Go to buses.
These shots right here look like they were probably shot in a studio or with a backdrop like that. I was curious how you're able to, they do look very candid. They look vulnerable. They look comfortable with you. How do you create a space with people, not saying, say cheese, what do you do with them?
You said it. They do know me. The question was, how do I make some of the people in the studio, how do I make them very comfortable with me? So for example, Maombe, at the very end, a day before that, we took her to a place where she got coats for her children. So she knew who I am. I am not a stranger, somebody that she never met before. So she knows I mean well. So she was with us. It was actually Blaze and I. We took her to a place. They measured her kid. They measured her and many other refugees. They knew who we were. So they know my advocacy. They know what I'm trying to say, and they feel very comfortable. They also say, how many pictures are you going to take? 50 already. Can we just go? So if they're anxious, it's about them sitting there for a while and me trying to fiddle with my camera, and they're just getting annoyed with me. But they're very supportive. Very, very supportive. 2 more questions.
How would you say your photos have shaped the conversation about refugees, and would you want it to in the world?
How did my photos shape the conversation? This audience, it's an easy audience. What I want to take these photos and the message is to, if you're from Dover, Ohio, I'm sorry, but that's the first thing that came to me. But Dover, Ohio, those smaller towns that people have never met me, don't know anything about me. That's the conversation I want to take. That's where the conversation is. You guys are already supporting, I'm pretty sure. Everybody here is going to welcome a refugee and support a refugee because I know many of you here. So, yes, it did shape it. Many of you did not know the statistics. Let me get rid of this picture, I'm sorry. Some of you did not know the statistics or may not know how the refugees get here, right? But overall, the message you do know that welcoming, that's the places that I really want to take this message. And I hope you can make that happen. If you are from there, or if you know a library, or if you know a conversation that we can have, make it happen for us so we can have a true dialogue. Because you turn the TV on, the message is extreme, left and right. But most people are actually not there. I feel like most people could really have engaged a good conversation, a healthy conversation without, we may disagree on one policy or two, but we're not that crazy. I mean, you get both sides of just...
I don't know. I mean, you've got the State of the Union. I mean, the anti-immigration movement in this country is terrifying.
Most people, I said, not them. Don't get me excited.
I just feel like we're moving in this direction. I mean, it has to be frightening for the people you represent and are helping in your advocacy.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
How far it's going to go.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, yes. But one has to look at also most people that I talk to in my travel or anywhere that I'm at, it's a healthy conversation. It is not a conversation which I hear from the person you're describing, and it's not from the TV. Like when I look at the TV, it's people lost their mind. It's not true. Most people can really have a dialogue. If we continuously do this kind of dialogue, I think we can change something. Maybe I'm...
No, I'm so glad to hear you say that. You're on the front line of all this.
Yeah.
You know better than I do.
Tariq,
Yes.
there's a question. Go ahead.
Okay. So from the look of things, you're a very professional photographer. You could be making money with professional models. Why refugees?
Yeah, it is. I honestly want to tell my story. I want to archive a story of mine. I want to focus on people that have gone through the same experiences I have. Do I do other commercial work and other things? Absolutely I do. I have colleagues that I work with here all the time that we do creative things and we do other things, but this is my home. I'm very comfortable with this. This is where I belong. So I continuously do that. But not only photography, I also, 9 to 5, I'm constantly in this world. I'm in this space of not just photographing them through arts and things like that, but also focusing on improving their lives so they don't get 20 years of cycle of poverty. I'm doing my best to get them out of poverty as quickly as possible so they can raise their kids in a better place. China, you had a question?
Yeah. I was gonna ask what keeps you so humble and what keeps you going at what you like to do. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I did. I don't think I'm arrogant. I don't think I'm humble. But thank you for saying that. You know, we visit refugee homes, and you look at this place that has nothing, literally no bed, nothing, and you walk in there, and they offer you food. They offer you everything they have. and I go to my wealthy friends' places or friends that are mean well, barely offer you anything. So it's humbling all the time to look at people who have nothing and say, I'm glad, I'm here. I'm glad I'm safe. I'm glad I made it. But also what's heartbreaking is these people, when they get the first job, most of that check goes back home to support other people who are in worse predicaments. So they say, sure, I don't have anything, but at least I will feed my family and I will take somebody, that $100 and that $50 or whatever I made, I'm gonna send it. So it's a different perspective that I live in all the time. I do have friends who have never experienced violence, have never experienced persecution. And I do have friends who have absolutely gone through the worst conditions. And then you look at both. Both are humbling. They're both great human beings. But you look at their stories, and you have to navigate through that. All of us, all the people that work with refugees every day, we have to navigate through an employer that doesn't understand where they're coming from, and a refugee that doesn't understand where this employer coming from. We have to negotiate that all day long. So, yeah, we all split personalities all the time. So, Anissa, you have.
Yeah, to kind of add on that, I was just going to say, obviously we all interact with art differently, and I think one of the reasons I enjoyed working with you was because you were really addressing this specific genre of immigrants, and I know in a lot of communities people don't see art as something, worth, pursuing. So how as a community can we support these immigrant refugee communities to really take control of their own stories and really explore the arts? How can we, support them?
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Friends are adding me on Instagram, and it's just my phone is going off, and it's very rude of me. Could you say that again one more time? I'm very humble, as you can see.
How can we support refugees and immigrants that are interested in the arts to really do what you're doing so that they can tell their own stories in a very unique way? Because we don't have a lot of artists like you in Columbus.
Yes. Dublin Arts Council. Janet is here last year. Do you want to explain what we did real quick?
Oh, if you want me to.
Yes, please.
So we did a 3-year exploration at Dublin Arts Council of immigration, integration, and identity. We started with a project about the Somali community primarily, and we scholarshiped 3 high school girls to work with a Somali photographer who came from Canada to help them be visual storytellers in the community. And we gave them cameras, and they became the photographers for that exhibition. As a result of that exhibition, we did a series of gatherings like this, and Tariq was one of our speakers. And in preparing to introduce him, we asked him what he would like us to say or what his vision would be. And he said, I want to see new American artists in gallery spaces. And so we started at that time with Tariq as a curator to find those artists and to bring them into our spaces. So we had photographers, we had visual artists. We worked with Blaze, with some wonderful Congolese dancers, and we did some performance of griot. So we brought a variety of people into our space with the idea that people would get to know one another, but first and foremost, I think, to give a space to really elevate the artistic practice of these new Americans.
So that is, thank you, Janet. I didn't mean to put you in the spot, but I think you would say it better than I would. But yes, we are in survival mode right now. Most refugees have come in 20 years ago. We are still trying to find our footing, find our space, find our language in order for us to compete with this well-established art space, right? But we do need, people who are supportive, people who are looking at the African and refugee stories. And you and I have to constantly advocate and put people in check and say, no, you don't have these people. They live in this community for 20 years. You've never, done this. So we have to do it. And I do it all the time. I put people and say, you have to have, African and refugee artists all the time, constantly. So.
What was your first camera?
Oh, oh my God, that's such a nerdy
Okay, lie,
question.
just lie.
Canon AE1. Anybody, Matt will know. Somebody will know. But it's a small little camera.
It wasn't a Brown.
No, I'm not. I'm not Bernie Sanders.
I gave it myself. And your first pictures, the first pictures you made before this association.
Well, no, just like everybody else. I mean, I was trying to find, the funny thing is, in Somali language, there's no such thing as depth of field, So most of you, if you are an American, an English speaker, you're learning cameras, you know aperture, you know these things. So not only I had to learn English, but I had to also learn the language of photography. So most people take it, for granted that this is your language and you know it. So it's hard to explain what depth of field is in Somali language, even if you tried, even if you did it. It's hard for you to explain what that is. I'm sure there is a language. Somali language will have that, but it's hard for me to capture those things, and that's what I had a hard time with the most. Not the actual taking the photos, understanding and reading these things that I'm reading. What does this mean? So and also photography is such a new language as well. I mean, it's only 160, 170 years old, so it's not really that old of a language itself.
You said earlier, and that this will be honest, you said a little young girl holding a baby,
Mhm.
said that she had never been photographed. Did she see the photograph that you made of her?
Yeah, I mean, Blaze and I will take 8x10s and little small prints and give people back, and some appreciate it and some say, "Oh, thanks, get me a job. I don't care about this." But yes, some enjoy it, some appreciate it, and some really don't care. But maybe Kalala was photographed in Congo professionally, but almost everything here, they've not sat in a studio or never been photographed before. And technically, if you're photographing with cameras that are hard to maintain focus, imagine someone just moving back and forth and doesn't understand the concept of sitting still and making sure to photograph you. So it's challenging. It really is challenging. So yeah.
I just kind of want to tie it all together a little bit in a bow. I appreciate you taking us on the journey and sharing that story with us. What I think is really interesting about Tariq's work is that film is chance. There's risk in it. And there's, whether you choose to see this in it or not, there's a hard-won end to it. There's a big process that happens in film. And so there's a beauty and there's a path in it that really parallels with the stories that he's trying to tell. And what I also love is how this so wonderfully melds the theme of this exhibition, which is Ohio Diaspora. There is a thread here about representation and seeing the individual and seeing the beauty in the individual. And thank you so much for the work that you do, and not just in your art, but in every moment of your life, to tell this story and help us to see individuals as the beautiful humans that they are. So thank you again. Appreciate your time. And this is the Ohio Arts Council's Rife Gallery. Our next artist talk will be Johnny Coleman, and he has sculptures around in the back. I do hope that you all will stick around. We're open until 8. Have a look around the exhibition, ask questions if you have them, and enjoy your night. Thank you so much for coming.